there we go. Man, I had to make sure I was playing the right intro. Look, the way that this week has been going for me, I didn't know what I was playing to be honest with you. But
I'm pretty sure you
what's
got
up,
it right,
brother?
my brother. I'm pretty sure you got it right.
Oh my God, man! Look, there's things going on in the world. Before we even get going, I'm up here in Northern California, so I need to give a little props and shouts out to our emergency medical folks, our firefighters. I do love the fire folks. We got some things going on in my neck of the woods. We got some terrible fires in Northern California. I hope everybody is safe. It's getting close to some. I got one eye kind of on the news and watching that, so that's got me a little frazzled too, brother. But let's go ahead and spend 30, 45 minutes talking some things, talking some games. How you living though? What's
Man,
up?
I'm
What's
all
that
right.
hat? Talk. Hold on. Talk to me about that hat. What you wearing? I
All
can't
right,
see
so the
that.
hat says "Internet dope is my life." So
God.
that's me. A brother was promoting his brand at a business function, a networking mixer here in Atlanta, Georgia. I was really talking about how enthusiastic I was with the internet, with tech, and all that kind of stuff. And he told me because I stopped at his booth, pick up one of his hats, and I told him I'll promote it. So internet dope. Basically, it is my life. So it
I
is what
like
it is.
that. I know it's almost like you've been doing this for a little
Well,
while,
I love what I do, man.
huh?
So you know how that is, man.
I appreciate that. It's all about the hustle. Is all we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love what we do. And tonight we're gonna touch on another topic. Let's say we've already talked a little live streaming. We've talked about mobile technology. We went head to head, Android versus iOS.
Right?
Tonight, I'm actually hoping that some of the earlier generation, some of the youngsters will probably jump on because we're gonna talk gaming consoles and gaming systems. And look,
Right?
you and me with all this silver in the beard, we kind of
Look, my
old
silver just
school.
came within the last 3 years. Now I just turned 41, so about 38, 39, it,
All
it,
right.
it, it hit me. So I'm just letting you know. Mine, I got to zoom out because I don't want everybody to see it matching my shirt. I can't see it.
Yeah.
I gotta come out of it just a little bit. But the beard, it's getting a little grazed. I'm getting up there with you. That's all.
No, you're not gonna pass me, unfortunately. But yeah, but again, two old school seasoned dudes talking about gaming consoles is kind of going to be a different topic. So again, hopefully that we can get some folks to chime in with their experience. I'm so old school. I remember back in the day, the old school Atari, right?
Right?
Atari
I grew up on
2600.
Atari, a
Yeah.
centipede. Come on now,
Oh,
I
well,
grew up on that.
you don't know nothing about Pong
Oh man, there you
and
go, man. There
Missile
you go.
Command. You're not ready for that.
Come on, but see, the technology back then, we were so mesmerized, shall I say? We were so mesmerized with the technology back then when it came to just having that little joystick,
Yeah.
that we had the red button at the top right hand corner. We was just so mesmerized at that time. Who would have ever thought, in the '80s to where we are now, where gaming has taken off, and what now you're doing things in 4K, virtual reality. I mean, you're doing things now that you couldn't even dream of those things back in the '80s.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? We didn't even think about it back then, right? So we were happy with the 8-bit. What was it? Pac-Man and the
Right.
like you said, the Centipede and the Asteroids. Everyone's got Asteroids is so popular now. I think there's some websites where you can actually they've emulated and you can play some of these games through your browser. But those were more yeah, the science fiction types of games, they had some sports games that weren't really as great because they were so rudimentary. But now you've got the popular first person shooters and the RPGs, the role playing games,
Correct.
where you've got multiple folks playing together at the same time. That's kind of where everything has kind of evolved to, right? Yeah, there were games where you're playing by yourself, but then now you got Madden, right? So now you're competing against your
Man,
buddies,
nobody
and
plays Madden like that no more,
oh,
man. It's all about the 2K, man. The 2K series.
I
No,
see
it's all
again, brother.
well,
Again, I don't know. I'm
hey, look,
rambling.
and this new generation, they're on Fortnite, so that's something that I don't know anything about. You got Call of Duty. I mean,
Mm.
that's your first person shooter game. So I mean, I'm a I'm a basketball player, so it's all about how well are you with the game? We don't really be on Madden like the way it used to be, and I
Right.
don't know if it has anything to do with the kneeling, shall I say? But I mean,
Okay.
there was a year that I had almost every Madden and every 2K, and then I think about 2 years ago, I kind of just dropped off of my Madden series, but that 2K series has been going on. I think I'm gonna pull my collection out in a moment when you take me off screen.
Was that you just wait for me to pull you off screen so you
No,
can go
no,
fire up and
but
start playing?
no,
Okay.
no. I had some games, but I didn't have them at my house. They're
Yeah.
in my storage. If I showed you my PlayStation 2 games, like I really do this. So I mean, I'm not, but I'm very selective in the type of games that I play. My Grand Theft Autos, my Uncharted, those type of games I love. But
Right.
then when it comes to the 2K, that will get probably 80, 85% of my time.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because you mentioned two different kind of pivots in terms of types of games, right? So Grand Theft Auto is something that,
That's
man, that's a whole different type of game, right? You out there, you jacking folks for their vehicle, you doing whatever it is. That's not something that you necessarily want your young 8 year old nephew or niece to be playing, but you don't mind if your 16, 17 year old is out there, but just don't say the words. Um, but then 2K or something like that, right? You think about it, all the athletes, all the NBA athletes right now that are in a bubble. I've heard a story on the news that many of them have had their gaming consoles shipped to them, and they're playing ball on their gaming consoles. They're playing the Call of Duties, the Fortnites, the Valorants. Like Isaiah, my son, he's playing that right now. So that's the new game. But again, they're out there shooting each other and playing those types of games. So when did that difference happen? Do you think again? Going from something like a sports game to more of that first person shooter, and what do you think caused that? Was it graphics capabilities? Was it just the excitement of the game? What do you think made that change happen in the user base?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily what made it change. I think the technology, and because I think uh, my early remembrance of playing the games where you can play online with other people um, was a Call of Duty. And when you could play Call of Duty, it was like you could be playing in your home. You could be in Northern California. I'm here in Atlanta, and you can be on teams, and you're
Yeah,
actually out on a mission, a military mission, and you're out there trying to find other people, and you're trying to take them out. And I think now with 2K, I think what you have now is with the game with basketball, it's how good is your game, and everyone talks. He needs to talk.
I was waiting for you to see the comment. That's why I'm just leaving it there, right? I see you, Tammy. Tammy coming with that smoke.
Yeah,
God dog. She said you better
no,
throw them
no
games
games.
away.
We got all the smoke. I mean, but a lot of my time, she loses a lot of my time because that's my leave me alone time. So I
Uh
don't want to be
oh.
bothered time. So
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm just gonna take
yeah,
my drink and
yeah,
leave that alone.
drink your little water, your H2O in your wine glass. Go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
your cranberry juice. But no, back to
Yes,
what I
sir.
was saying. I think 2016. Do not quote me. 2017. They started doing like online gaming where you could play against other people, but the internet speed and connection was not the greatest when it came to
Right.
Madden and 2K. But then now you're looking at the Fortnites, how everybody can play with each other. So I would probably say within the last 2 or 3 years, because we're in 2020. So I'll say about 2018, 2017 is the start of this. And I think now it's really more along the lines of as the technology and the internet capabilities gets better, more people are going to do it. Because now they're giving out last year, I think it was don't quote me, but 2K was giving away $100,000 to the team, so that's $25,000. Now they have an
Yeah,
esports league, so it was like they were flying you to the NBA All Star Weekend, and you could win $100,000 or $50,000. That's a lot of money just playing a
that's
video
true.
game.
That's
So
true, right? I mean, that's what I was going. touch on as well, right? I mean, there are actually folks out there making real money, six, maybe seven figures, playing their games, being sponsored by the Nintendos and the Sonys and the Microsofts and things like that. And that's just what they do, right? Everyone, even if you're not in gaming, you know who Ninja is. Why do you know who he is? Because he's become a pop culture phenomenon.
Right.
He's made millions of dollars. He's at all the stars parties, and all he does every single day is play
Play video,
Fortnite.
play video,
So
and making more than the adults and the parents probably have
yeah,
seen.
yeah,
I don't know if you heard about the new deal that he signed, him and one other person signed a deal with Mixer. Mixer just folded, and they just
right,
walked away with a multi-million-dollar deal because they folded.
yeah.
So I mean, and now they have so much money that they got NBA money. Like
Yeah, they got grown folks money for sure. That's for
no,
sure.
not
Yeah,
grown folks money because grown folks don't even get a chance to see that kind of money. So they got some money that starts with the letter M, not
yeah,
with the T. They
yeah,
got millions.
yeah,
And that was just because they played video games and Mixer folded. And in their contract, there was a clause where those two signed the deal. Now they can go back to Twitch, they can go to YouTube and still make money, but they already have this guaranteed money. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. How you said
yeah,
it was Ninja? How much money?
yeah, yeah.
Let me
Ninja has done
how
some
much?
things, and you bring about while
How
you're
much?
looking that up.
How
I mean, again, because
much
we're streaming on Twitch now, and that's a relatively
how
new
much money did
platform
Ninja make
for us. Typically we've just been Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but wanting to get into that younger demographic, so we've added Twitch to that, and there's been a lot of engagement from there because folks are used to being on there long form, so streaming for 30, 40 an hour, 8 hours. I think my son was online. Look, Isaiah was online streaming one night. He said for like 8 hours. He just let the whole thing run. But why? Because he's making money doing that, right? As an affiliate, the longer he streams, the more people that watch. So again, folks are making actual dollars by being within this marketplace, and it's becoming lucrative. Everyone can do it. The barriers to entry are relatively minimal. You just
Right.
need, like you said, decent network connection, decent system, decent video and lighting, right? Camera. And it's kind of the same things that we do from a live streaming perspective, and then just be good at playing the games, right? No one's going to watch a scrub that's out there trying to play, but so if you
You
can
got to be the best of
actually
the
be
best.
decent,
Now you got to be the best of the best. Now I was reading
yeah,
this here because Ninja spoke briefly with CNN back in 2018 that he has made close to 10 million in 2018 thanks to the success of his Twitch and YouTube channel. So 2018 off the rip, he made $10 million. That's not even
yeah.
talking about this new deal that he had signed with
So
Mixer.
that was before the Mixer deal.
Correct. That was
Okay,
just off of
okay.
Twitch and YouTube. He had made only in 2018. He had made close. Let's just say $9.8 million.
You go round it down on them.
Well, I
So
mean,
round it down on them.
just call it what. I mean, 10 million is a lot of money, man. I'm
That,
sorry. Like,
oh, I ain't mad at him. I'll drink to that.
I. Look, see, you'll make me bring my Minute Maid into the shot, man. I gotta bring my Minute.
Oh, there he is. Look, we old school. We from the country right
All
there,
right,
ladies. The
so
minute
so
made right from the carton.
so last week we were talking like we didn't know what the show was gonna be about. We were talking about gaming, and we decided to do this show.
Right.
And I wanted to do a little bit of research, and I did not include Nintendo with this because and Nintendo should be a solid player in this game because they do have a market for it, but I only did research for Nintendo versus Microsoft's Xbox. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna we're gonna there's really no well, we know who the clear winner is, shall we say. We know who the winner is. But
I don't know. I'm gonna debate that, right? And even before you get started, because look, my daughter when she graduated high school, she asked for us a gift, and that gift was a Nintendo Switch.
okay.
Brother, you can't find it. It's nowhere to be. You can't get it bootleg. No, I mean there is nowhere
Can't
to
get it on
get
eBay
that
or
Nintendo
OfferUp.
Switch. Because well, you can get one, but it's obviously price gouging from whoever's trying to sell it. So they've been sold out since when the last school term ended. So they're doing well themselves, even though they're more of a legacy name. You know, I remember Nintendo from the back in the Wii days and all that. And you're probably going to say Microsoft is winning, but I just wanted to throw that in there, right? I mean,
Oh,
don't
great
sleep on
take.
Nintendo. Don't sleep on
No,
Nintendo.
no, well, we're not. Like I said, Nintendo, and I didn't get a chance to do my research on Nintendo because when we originally spoke, we only spoke of Nintendo. I mean, excuse me, PlayStation and Xbox, which a lot of people, that's what they're gonna pretty much familiarize themselves with because those are
Right.
the two major players in the game. Now, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. In our generation, Atari and Nintendo was the marquee consoles or the
Yeah.
marquee playing. I mean, games that we played. So, but now I would like to say. In the mid '90s, PlayStation made their stake in the
Yeah.
gaming world in
Yep.
1994 when they released PlayStation, the first PlayStation.
Yeah.
And what people don't know is they sold over 102 million units. So that's a lot of units, shall we say, across the world. And they discontinued in 2005. So just keep in mind, 102 million units. The first PlayStation released in '94, they discontinued in 2005, and their most popular game, which I was never a big fan of, but it was Gran Turismo. I forgot the actual full title, but Gran Turismo. It was a racing game. So if you
Okay.
like racing games, that was the most popular game that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And then in March 2000, PlayStation released PS2. So where were you? Were you into gaming in 2000?
I look. I may have still had my Nintendo 64 or my Sega Genesis. Look, I'm old school, brother. I had a Commodore 64 back in the day, VIC 20. Okay,
Okay.
this is before
Yeah,
this is
Big 20.
before your time, brother.
Commodores, I don't know what that is. I just know the
That
band called the Commodores.
okay, all right.
I think he just caught on to that.
I love it. That's
uh,
hilarious.
so,
No, but I did. I think so. Yeah, I had the Nintendo 64 for a while. I didn't get the PlayStation. I don't think until it actually came out with the paddles. Right. I
okay.
mean, with the handheld controller. So I didn't go Sony for a while. I stayed Nintendo for a good minute. Yep.
Okay. Well, in March 2000, I was a junior in college, and I'll never forget. PlayStation 2 releases. I go to GameStop. The guy tells me, "What can I help you with?" I said, "Well, what I want, you can't give me." And he
Mm.
says, "What do you mean?" I said, "I want that PlayStation 2." And he says, "Man, I can't." I said, "I told you what I want, you can't give me." And so they were on back order
Okay.
and but not back order, but they had not released. But you had to put down your $5 deposit, $10 deposit at GameStop. And he says, "I tell you what." He found out that I was playing college ball at UNO, and he says, "I tell you what, put down your deposit." And he says, "If we get some units, if I give you a call, you gotta be ready to make a move because you gotta be ready to make this move if we give you this call." So I said, "Okay, cool." He calls me the night before the game releases and says, "I got your unit. You got to be here." I got to come up with $299. So my surrogate mom, she helped me out, and she gave me. I told her I had like 125. She gave me the other half. I was the sixth person in line at the mall in New Orleans, and to get I was one of the first ones in New Orleans to get the PlayStation 2 in my hands. I
I
remember I
heard
had
that.
an 8 o'clock class, taking a sociology class, and I took. Now keep in mind, I was in line at 6, had a class at 8,
Yeah.
ran home, played. The first game was Madden that I had set up. I had bought Madden to go with it because you didn't get a game to go with it at the
Yeah,
time. You
that's
just got
true.
the
Yep.
unit.
Yep.
And I played the game, walked into class with the PlayStation box in my hand.
You walked in there stunting, right? Hey, y'all
Oh,
see
I was
me?
studying
Y'all
in
see?
college, man. Come on, man. So the teacher tells me you will get an A in class for the semester if you give me your PlayStation. I said, nah, I'd rather
Wow.
earn my A. I'd
Yeah,
rather earn my
let me earn mine,
yeah,
man.
I'm
But
gonna
that's
earn this thing.
crazy.
Now, when I got out of class and got out of basketball practice, I was up all night playing Madden, and
Yeah.
we was getting it in. So for $299, that was the investment. I think I still have that PlayStation because I know I think I still have that PlayStation. I got to figure out what I did with it, but
Well, it sounds like you still got some of the games at least. But and so think about it too. $2.99, and you had to.
but that
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
lot of
you.
money back then.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say, right? Yeah, you were in college, and
You
didn't
know,
have a lot of income, but $2.99 is a lot of
I'm
money.
so you don't have that kind of money, and at that time, phones weren't even costing that much. I mean, right now we laugh because you don't even get
Yeah,
a cell phone for two hundred
yeah,
ninety nine in
yeah,
2020. But
yeah,
back then, you paying that kind of money for a cell phone in 2000? No. What toy were you buying? I mean, you go get your Rolex or go get you a nice watch or a chain, but
yeah.
2000, you weren't spending that kind of money.
No, no, not for nothing. Not even for well, you were getting your pager back then, but you were getting that on contract
No,
with
cell
Singular or Air
No,
Touch, whoever you
because
were with.
in 2000, I had a cell phone, but once again, I was a techie. So I was one of the few college students that had a cell phone in 2000. So, but that was just me because I was a techie. So I could tell you some stories when we start talking cell phones one day, but November 2001. So that was in March of 2000. So November 2001, Microsoft released the Xbox, and they decided to jump into the gaming arena, and they sold their first Xbox for $299 as well. Um, because of some of the GPU and CPU that was in the Xbox, a year later, PlayStation PS2 dropped their price from $299 to $199. But that's part of the being the first generation. You just had
Yes,
to keep
yeah,
that charge because you wanted to be first to have it. So they
yeah.
lowered it where it's a little bit more affordable after November. But Sony had got the exclusive rights to one of the most popular games of all time, Grand Theft Auto, and at that time it was San Andreas, and they had sold 17.3 million copies from what the research and what Wikipedia
Yeah,
is.
that's
So
crazy. That's crazy.
so just imagine you got the Madden series, you had NBA Live, you got Grand Theft Auto, and this game right here sells for 17.3 million. And the cool thing about Grand Theft Auto was the music playlist. It was so broad, but it was so raw. That's the
Yeah.
and even in Grand Theft Auto, the new one that's out right now. If you listen to the playlist, they got the oldies but goodies. They got talk radio. I mean, they even bring in stuff with presidential elections. If you
Okay.
just listen to some of the commentary that's while you're in that car driving, I mean, you could be jamming like, well, that's my song right there.
That's my jam, huh?
From R&B
Yeah.
hits to oldie but goodies to rock to pop to country. I mean, they had everything, and that was one of the cool things about Grand Theft Auto.
That's
So
cool.
Sony had sold 155 million copies of the PS2, and they had over 2,500 games. And the Xbox had only sold 24 million games, and they only had a little bit over 1,047 games. And their most popular game was Halo, which only sold 8.4 million. So
So what's so interesting about that, and it's a shame we don't have the Nintendo numbers because at that time, right, Mario Kart, the whole Mario series was real popular with Nintendo, right?
that was
That
a
was
little
their
bit
game.
younger though, because you got to think you had Nintendo, you had Super Nintendo, you had NES.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, I was a kid when Nintendo came out, and
Hmm.
so we're talking college. This is 2000, so we're not talking about the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. We're not talking about that with Tecmo Bowl and
Wow, you flashing back. Tecmo Bowl. Okay.
Oh man, we can go there now.
Glass jaw with the Tyson fighting game.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
That
Like
was
those
yeah.
are those are like the. She said, "Is there a reason why I don't like
Uh oh.
Xbox?"
Oh, so we got to pause because we may be having issue. If you don't like Xbox,
Well, I think
what's wrong?
well, for me, I think PlayStation just came across as for me personally, and you
Yeah,
can give your own opinion
yeah.
on this as well. But for me, it just felt like PlayStation just had a more sleeker design at the time. The controllers, shall I say? Let me see if I can bring this up. The controller just had a better feel to it. For me,
He's
I
got an
didn't
old
like.
school PlayStation controller in
No,
his
no, this is
hand.
PlayStation 4, buddy. What you talking about?
Okay, look. Okay,
Don't do
whatever.
me. I do
Don't
this.
don't don't.
I was playing. I was playing two K before we started. When you talking about we still on today, I was playing 2K. So, so what I'm saying is the PlayStation. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
For me, the design of the controller, for me, the design it just feels good in my hand. You know,
yeah.
I, but with the Xbox, I just think that it's just really, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But I just think that the graphics were on point. I think the variety of games, even though I'm very particular on the games, but even when I go into a GameStop and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a game that's similar to this," they
Hmm.
can point me into two or three games, and then they can give you their honest. Uh, they think they'll say this is the game that it is, shall
Yeah,
or this is something that's
yeah,
comparable to what you're looking for, and
yeah,
9 times out of 10, they're pretty much right.
yeah.
The, so for me, I think it was just a sleek design. I felt like the graphics were on point. I felt like um, it was just you. You would not be a gamer if you did not play PlayStation. That was just my opinion
No,
from.
that's true, and I think we are kind of in agreement on that. Even so, I've got a Xbox here at the house, but I've got one of the early ones. But Microsoft really kind of deviated. No, let me talk now, God. Oh, Microsoft kind of deviated and tried to go into the living room, right? So similar to how Apple was doing, right? So they had all these tie-ins with things outside of games. They had all of the tie-ins to streaming services. They had all those tie-ins to YouTube and your cable channels and all this. They kind of deviated from what they were really started out being good at, and that's when Sony came in and they were completely focused on let me just build some great games. Let me just build a great console system that's fast, that looks good, and that works. So kind of like Tammy was saying, now from a PlayStation perspective, and when you look at the folks that are out there actually playing, that's kind of the gamer's gaming console. Microsoft is trying to catch up, and now they have these two consoles that they haven't even released yet, right? The Series S and the Series X, which the graphics are going to be phenomenal. Those aren't even scheduled to come out until around November timeframe, but graphics is back on point. Speed is back on point. They've got a great library, but I'm wondering if it's too late to catch up because PlayStation is going to have their PS5 coming out, and we're seeing more and more license contracts with Sony as opposed to Microsoft because Microsoft is so splintered in just everything that they're doing. That's my opinion, right? And I don't know, right?
I mean, like I said, I think, and I was going to get into this. I was just giving you guys a rundown of giving you a rundown of the history of Xbox and PlayStation, just giving us a story timeline. You kind of jumped into that. Isaiah said Microsoft revolutionized the idea of a frames per second game on console. That's true. So the frames per second, when you're looking at the game, that refresh rate, I mean, it's like if you shoot that gun or if you shoot that ball, I mean, even though it's a blink of an eye to the average person, a gamer can tell. Like their eyesight is so good. But I mean,
Yeah.
like it takes that. So Isaiah is right with how they revolutionized it. So that was great. But like I said, let me go back into this history as we are doing this, and then we can break it down into a couple parts. So the last we left off was what year was this? 2001. So let's jump
Early
to
2000. Yeah, early
yeah,
2000.
so 2005, Xbox released the 360. It released in 2005 and sold for $299.
That's the one we
And
got.
Xbox
Yeah, that's
360,
the one we got.
okay. And then the
Yeah,
PS3 came out in 2006 and it released for 499. And I was one of the first ones to get that game as well. So I just followed the Sony model, the Sony brand. The
yeah,
Xbox had a three-core processor at the time with a 512 GDDR RAM. It was weaker, but it functioned better. And the PlayStation had an eight-core processor, which meant it was faster, and it had a 256 XDR RAM.
yeah.
So 2007, PlayStation sold. So out of 2005, 2 years later, PlayStation sold. When you look at the Xbox 360 versus the PS3 in 2007, PlayStation had sold 6.5 million units, and Xbox had sold 7.3 million units. So
Yeah.
Xbox had in that first year, Xbox seemed to have won because you were one of those million people that pushed them over the hump. But when you fast forward from 2007 to 2016,
Mhm.
PS3 took over with 86.5 million units, so with 2,100 titles, and Xbox had came out in 2016 with a total number count of 85.5 million units and only
Wow,
1,200 titles. So
that's
the
crazy still.
titles, so the titles, number one, they didn't make as many.
Yeah.
PlayStation almost doubled the amount of games that came out, and everyone knows their PlayStation is known for the exclusive games.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing that sells itself all day long.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but let me ask you something about this before you go on, because now you're starting to get into again some different numbers, right? So now you're
mhm.
talking 400, $500 for the console, and then each game itself is what, $50, $60, double disc games, or maybe even more than that. Is that's where it's starting to get a little more sensitive to the wallet, right? I mean, yeah, you want to have the latest and greatest, but can everyone start paying and start pushing out $65 per game title? I mean, do you think that do you ever see a time where price per game will go down as opposed to
No,
going up,
well,
or do you think they'll stay where they are?
they're going to go up because
Mm-hmm.
once they set a certain price point, I remember games used to be 49.99, and
Mm-hmm.
then now you're paying 59.99 for a game. And
Mm-hmm.
now when this PlayStation 5 comes out, they've already said 2K is going to be releasing for $70. So, I mean, they're never going to go back down,
Yeah. See now. Do,
you
do
know?
you think? And again, I'm just instigating. I'm asking the hard why questions, and I want folks to kind of chime in as well. I mean, where's the number? Where's the breaking point, right? In that number, when you start deciding I'm not
And,
gonna eat this week, or I'm gonna, I'm just gonna
well,
get
look,
top
I've had
ramen
many
instead
of
of.
those things. Look. 2K comes out next month, and I've already put it in my mind that, and Tammy will tell you, I will be one of the first ones in line to
Yeah.
have 2K. So I mean, but at this point, it's like they're now the only thing that I don't care for 2K, shall I say, is they do a lot of microtransactions. So I've already spent this money, you
So
know.
talk about that because Isaiah just brought that up too as well. Talk to us about what the
So
microtransactions are.
microtransactions, if you don't know or if you're not familiar, this and for the parents who are watching, shall we say, and you wonder why $1.99 and $5.99 and $19.99 just mysteriously just came out of your bank account while these kids out here playing Fortnite.
Woo!
They're basically giving you the game for free, shall we say,
uh,
or you're paying for this game, and it says, "Oh, if you want to buy the shoes, pay 99 cents. If you want to buy an extra unlock to the game, you can pay 2.99. Or if you got to have this certain sticker to go on the patch of the video game,
Come on, man. Is that right? It's like that. What happened
yeah,
to the cheat codes back in the day? I remember I remember I used to go into Barnes and Noble, getting the whole book where you could just buy all the cheat codes when you didn't have to do all that.
well, they got cheatcodes.com. People don't even know about that website. You go to cheatcodes.com, type in whatever game it is, and they will tell you how to go about doing it. Now we have the internet, so you go to YouTube and they'll tell you how to get through the
Yeah,
game now.
yeah.
But microtransactions, basically, make a long story short, it's the game's way of being able to get more money out of you, shall we say, in a more layman terms, to give you an added benefit, or to the player that's playing the game, to say, hey, you can get the game at this level here, but if you want, you get the game at this level here, but if you want to get even further, you got to pay another twenty
You got.
dollars or $50 just to, like 2K, for example. They give you a 5,000. They give you 5,000 credits or whatever you want to call it. 5,000 VC, virtual currency. That's if
Hmm.
you buy the basic game. But if you spend $99, you start off with 100,000 VC. So then you got to think this is just to get your player, because your build is going to be at a 60. So yeah, you get in the game, yeah, you can play. Now you can play your way and get up there. But when you start saying, well, I could just pay $20 more, or I can pay $50 more, I can pay
I,
$100 more,
and I can level up right
and I can
right
level up,
then.
and I ain't got time for all of that.
Yeah,
Now you just paid $59 for the game on top of another $50 to $100. So you really technically paid almost $150 for a game, shall we say, and that's only for the first year. Now, the one thing I don't like about 2K and Madden and some of these other games, every year it's the same game. All they do is add in a new set of players. Why can't you
okay,
just give
yeah,
us the new downloadable players? But
yeah,
it's all about the money. And
definitely,
because now they
definitely.
have these exclusive deals with Foot Locker, they got these exclusive deals with what's the cereal brand that I had Tammy buy for me so I can get some VC Reese's cereal.
You're not trying to
From
get on the Wheaties box. You're not trying to
no,
get on the Wheaties. Is that
no,
they
so
done with the Wheaties box?
they got Reese's cereal, and you can get an unlock of the 3-on-3 tournament or something like that. You get the code to get double or triple the VC,
Wow.
or
Okay. Okay.
buy the Ruffles potato chips, and you get XYZ VC. So now instead of me buying Lay's, I'm out here buying Ruffles
You out here.
because
You out here over at Kroger or the
yeah.
Piggly Wiggly. Up in your neck of the woods. I know about you, brother. I know about. But see,
But
so,
we
so
have
that's
to,
a good point.
but we
That's
buy,
a good point. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but now these companies have gotten themselves, shall we say, involved with the gaming. So
Yeah.
now they know that, hey, it's a at from a marketing standpoint, it makes sense. If I know I have 20 million people playing this one game and I can get my branding into your game, what does that do? That makes me want to buy your product in the grocery store,
Yeah.
number one.
Yep.
Two, I'm going to probably buy more because we ain't brought no Lay's potato chips in this house since 2K comes out. Everything's been about Ruffles. And I love Lay's, but that's just what
I,
it is.
yeah.
Foot Locker, now they took Foot Locker out of 2K. They took it out, but you got to think you're seeing Nike, Under Armour, Reebok. You're seeing Puma. You're seeing brands that you didn't even think of. They're now in the game, and you're
Yeah.
paying virtual currency, actual money, your real money to use as virtual currency to go into, shall we say, the game that's only going to be good for a year. And then
For a
it's like,
year.
okay, how much of this am I going to use? So
Yeah.
I was looking today, and I had 225,000 VC, but I earned that. I didn't pay,
Yeah.
but I didn't pay. But at the beginning, I think I did put $20 or $30, and I did put some skin in the game. So technically,
Yeah.
instead of paying $60 for the game of 2K20, I put in $90. But I said I'm not going to do it anymore. So after my $30 investment, everything else I earned my way.
Okay. Okay. You brought up a point that I kind of want to go back to, and you touched on it about paying for the games kind of to level up, and I wonder if that's what has happened with Epic Games lately, right? With the fact that they put that in gaming capability within Fortnite, which is why Apple pulled them off of the App Store and why Google pulled them out of their App Store, because what Epic Gaming ended up doing was subverting the 30% Apple tax, right, from a gaming side. So instead of users and gamers paying Apple that money, they were paying it directly to the manufacturer. So what did they do? They pulled them out of the App Store. I'm actually okay with that. I actually think that the gaming companies should be getting more. Look, Apple's already a $2 trillion company as of today from their valuation. So I mean, I watch it from that perspective as well. But I actually don't have a problem with Epic Gaming putting in an in-app pricing model for their users so they can retain some of that money again because they're giving, because as you say, they're giving that game away for the most part free, and as you continue to play, you buy up, you level up so you can get different stages, different swag, or whatever the case may be. What are your thoughts about that? Have you experienced any of that in any of the games that you play?
No, actually, this is the first that I'm hearing about this. You mentioned this right before the show, and I was not familiar with Fortnite pulling, or Google or the App Store pulling this technology. I mean, pulling their games out of those stores on your
Yeah.
cell phone. I just know that parents are like, some parents will say, "I'm giving my kid $5, $10 a week for something that they need," but for Epic Games, excuse me, for Epic Games to say, um, "Let me pull it out,"
Yeah.
if they're getting attacked, if they're being taxed, and it's no different from 2K saying, "You know what? Instead of us using Foot Locker's brand name or making you a YouTuber, we're just gonna make you a 2Ker, or we're gonna have the 2K shoe store." So it's like, I don't have to pay you any money. I can just make my own money. So if you have a brand, or if you have a product, shall we say,
Yeah.
doesn't it make sense for you to, as opposed to you using the Adidas store? You make more money.
I'm for all that. I'm
So
for
I
that.
mean, so when it comes to, because everything is all about what is it, proprietorship? Help me out with that. When it comes to um, um, when you're using somebody else's name, well, what do they call that? What's that? When you're using somebody exclusive rights, or you're using
The
their name.
exclusive rights or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're using someone else's name, you got to pay for that. So
Right.
every time you see a Nike or Adidas or whatever, you they can say you're using a copyright claim on, you're using my stuff. So why not just make it
Yeah.
branded for yourself, and you come up with your own creative name, build it, brand it, and make
Yeah.
everybody say, I have to do this on my own.
Yeah,
Why not?
hey, we know about them copyright claims, especially with YouTube. So
Yeah, I
got,
mean,
got got those all cleared up. So I haven't got any copyright claims from YouTube in the last couple of
but
weeks because
but this is the generation that we're going into. I think maybe
yeah,
5 6 years ago, nobody cared about copyright claims.
yeah,
Now that we're in this pandemic, everyone is streaming music. Going off topic just a little bit, but everyone is streaming music, and it's like copyright claim left, right, and the record labels are literally sitting back saying, "Okay, as soon as you play it, claim,
yeah,
you owe me that money."
yep,
So why not create your own brand, or create your own sound, or create your own game, and create your own thing and build it? And even though Foot Locker, Fortnite uses whatever that they use, Google or the App Store for Mac or iPhone, iOS, shall we say? Why pay you some money, and I can just create my own thing and just have you just go to my website, download everything from me, and I make all the money. We're living in an age now to where that's where it's at.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
So let me go ahead. Let's jump up a little bit faster. We were at Xbox 360, 2007, PlayStation. So no, we did that already. So Grand Theft Auto was the most popular game that was sold on both units. So remember, Grand Theft Auto was exclusively only to PlayStation in the beginning, but then they also said Grand Theft Auto became the most popular game um, in 2016 or 2017, and now created they have created a eighth generation console, which is now the PS4 and the Xbox One. So the PS4 retails for $399, which you could probably get it a little bit cheaper now. I know I've seen it cheaper in pawn shops. Comes with the 8 core processor. The Xbox One sold for $4.99, and it came with the Connect. But a lot of people were upset that the Connect really did not work. And then they also took a big devastating blow, saying that the PlayStation, excuse me, the Xbox had to always be online, and it took a devastating blow because you could not, if you did not connect to the internet every 24 hours or within
Yeah.
24 hours, the games would not play.
Yeah, yeah. The
So,
Connect was terrible. Look, we had that attached to our system. It worked for a minute, but it was brutal, right? It just didn't work. So I think that's been donated to the round file at the Roseville
so the Connect.
Roseville dump.
So if I were you, if you haven't given it away, I'd probably put it in one of those little time capsules. And when Isaiah graduates from college or Isaiah starts to have his family, then you pull the Connect out and say, "This is like what the Atari was for us," because it's one of those things that it didn't sell well. So if you have it at a later time and date, somebody might say, "I have a vintage Connect," shall we say?
Too late. Too late. I threw it away. I threw it away. And so our 360 is messing up right now. It won't power up the way it's supposed to. So I'm debating right now, right? Which should I replace it with something else? Should I replace it with one of these new Xboxes, this S or the X, or this PS5 that's coming out?
So
So I don't know. Yeah.
so the PS4 currently, as of 2020, has 94 million active users, and Xbox has 65 million. See, I went and did my research, and
I don't.
like
Hey, I'm cool, but I'm just saying. Tammy said at least I know how to get rid of things when
I
I'm
don't get
done
rid
with
of
them.
nothing, and she knows she can't
See,
touch nothing. If I say you can get rid of it, she runs and throw it in the trash. And if I come back and say no, 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 she's like, too late. You already told me. So I have to be very thoughtful in my thought process. If I say yes, throw it away, because she don't even hesitate. She runs that stuff to the trash can. So, um, so let's talk a little bit about the features of the Xbox versus the PlayStation, shall we
yeah,
say?
yeah,
The features for the PlayStation, they are you familiar with the virtual reality, the PSVR? Are you familiar with that?
yeah, yeah. I had some of the goggles before. Didn't use them. Had them very early on. I think I got them at one of our CES trips, right? So it was just too early on before even some of the gaming systems came out. But yeah, I had them.
So the PSVR, it was low cost. I think it was like 199 to go with it. It came out with a nice amount of games to have a variety that you could play with. I've never done the PlayStation 4 the VR, the virtual reality, but I did have the PlayStation Eye, where you could be in the game, but I could never figure it out, so I got rid of it. It connects directly to the console. Some of the great games that they have is Gears of War, Until Dawn's, Rush of Blood, and London Heist. And you don't need a high end PC for the virtual reality.
Okay.
Whereas Xbox had the Connect, as you just said, it was kind of sketchy, and Xbox abandoned it. But the cool thing about the Xbox, the current one that's out now, it has crossplay with Windows 10 and Xbox Live. So you can purchase the game and you can get full synchronization to your PC, and people can play with on their Windows 10 if they have a gaming laptop, uh,
Okay. Well, that's
as
pretty cool. Yeah.
well as play on the Xbox. So that because it's that Microsoft compatibility, that's one of the cool things about it. And one of the games for Connect was Just Dance. So that's kind of that's kind of funny.
That
Um,
that was the one game that my daughter played all the time when she had sleepovers or whatever, and that was the only game that worked. All the other ones for Connect did not work at all. So once she outgrew that or got tired of that, that's when the Connect ended up in the garbage. Yeah.
backwards compatibility. This is kind of where Xbox shines. So with the Xbox, they have over 300 games of backwards compatibility of older games. Red Dead Redemption is one of their more popular ones. With the PlayStation, you had to have a PlayStation Now account. So they have a PS Plus account and a PlayStation Now account. It's two different services, but the PlayStation Now, you had to subscribe for either $20 a month or $100 for the year. and you had to have a solid internet connection to stream off the servers to play only PS3 games, and they just started or they just released PS2 games within the last year or so.
Was
And
that the service where they were streaming music too? Remember when we were at CES in Vegas and they had announced their music streaming service? It was very short lived,
no,
but
this is something. This is something that was
okay,
another.
okay,
That was a different service. So,
okay,
but PS Now, and I'll briefly touch on PS Plus as well. But the games were limited and they don't download, so I can't put a PlayStation 3 game into my PlayStation 4. Whereas with the Xbox
oh, that's
360,
terrible. Okay,
you could put
yeah,
the Xbox older 360 game into the new Xbox and it would play. So
okay.
that's the one downfall. Now the PlayStation Plus, they have 24. I want to say $24 a month for no, $24 for 3 months, or you can pay $60 for the year. I want to say maybe $70 for the year, and they give you two free games a month that you can download. And as long as you have the PlayStation Plus, you can play those games forever. So you get a free game, you get two free games a month, and as long as you have memory on your PlayStation 4, you're good to go. So that's a cool thing.
That's a pretty cool thing. But so was there is there an upgrade option on the PlayStation? Because I mean, like, so on the Xbox, we've plugged in a external hard drive and we're able to add additional capacity to it.
Correct. Same
Or
thing. Same thing with the
okay,
PlayStation.
okay,
So you
okay,
can put a solid state drive or a
yeah,
hard drive or whatever, and you can convert over the old games and just drag and drop. And then when you need to or you want to play that game, just plug it inside of
okay,
the controller port and the USB port, and you can play. You just drag and drop the games, and you should be good to
gotcha.
go. Everyone knows that when it comes to the exclusive games, PS4 has taken off. Xbox, they don't have exclusive games, but their popular games were Rare Replay, which is all the old games from like Atari or something like that. Sunset Overdrive, Halo, Gears of War. Those are like the popular games for um, Xbox, but their exclusive games are very limited to where PlayStation 4 has a vast amount of exclusive games such as God of War, Grand Theft Auto, Bloodborne, Last Guardian, and Uncharted 4, which are some of the more popular games.
Okay.
Um, when it comes to the controllers, I'm kind of mixed on this, but they said that the Xbox controller is a little bit better. They said that you can do button remapping, which I really don't know. Maybe Isaiah can
I've
tell.
seen, hey, yeah, man, I've seen that happen. Look, my son has gone on to every website. Bruh, it's a whole nother marketplace for configuring your controller, rigging the keys, putting in the mechanical click and everything. It's a whole different thing, right?
Right.
You buy your generic controller from Microsoft, but you can buy all the replacements for it, and it didn't seem expensive to do it, but again, you could spend a couple of bucks to make these devices, these controllers, personalized to you. It's crazy.
They said that they have AA batteries that you can use, or you can use a charge kit, which gives you up to 30 hours of battery life. And then lastly, they have the rumble in the trigger. So if you have
Yeah,
driving a
I remember
car,
that.
you get that kickback when you press down on the gas, or if you're shooting a rifle in a first-person shooter game, you can
Yeah,
actually get that kickback on the rumble of the controller.
it's
Where
the haptic feedback that you get on the Android side, right on your Android phone. That's that
right.
haptic. That's where that all came from, and now we stole that on iOS too. Yeah.
So with the PlayStation, we have a headphone jack to where you can plug your headphones into or your earbuds into it, so you can have
Okay.
a surround sound with your ears. If you don't have the surround sound system, you can have that all right next to you. The speakers can act. It actually has a built-in speaker, and it can act as a phone, or as you're
What?
playing one of the games, such as Grand Theft Auto. you can actually hear the music through the controller as well. So that's pretty cool. And then the only bad thing is the battery life is about 8 hours. Um, Tammy over there talking like she knows something about this game. She
Hey,
don't
she
play
she
no
she
games.
old school. She
She only
know.
play the fighting games. Won't watch with me, but I mean she won't play with me. But she sound like she know more about that Xbox.
She know.
I won't play.
Trying to
I
get her
won't
on
play.
camera here.
Look, I won't play the Xbox no more than I'll touch iOS. So I couldn't tell you anything about it. So um, 8 hours of battery life and it charges via USB. So that's the only bad thing. Solar is dead. You gotta charge it. That's the only bad thing that I don't like about it. You gotta put it in the there you go. Let's see. That yeah, right there in that little hole
Yeah,
right there. You gotta charge it and you gotta wait for it to charge back up. That's the only bad thing about the Xbox the PlayStation 4 that I don't
yeah.
like. Whereas with the Xbox, if the charge kit dies, you can charge it and put some AA batteries and you can keep
True.
going.
Yeah. Yeah. See, well, step away from the game once in a while. Just, when you go to sleep, put it on the charger. Really, that's what I had to tell my kids today. Just step away from the screen for a minute. I'm trying to talk to y'all young folks, man.
No,
I'm trying to
I don't.
talk to y'all.
We live in a society now where gaming is where it's at. So when we were growing up, it was all about sports. It was all about go get your education. But now you can make money, and you don't necessarily have to have a college. You can make more money than your parents, grandparents, and your great grandparents ever made with life insurance and with
Yeah.
just by playing video games. So
No, that's true, and that's a hard. You
that's
have
a
to have
hard.
that conversation, but it's a hard conversation to say the pros and cons. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, the kids in this house right now, don't get it twisted. Y'all going to college, so don't even try to think that we that's negotiable. But yeah, there are folks that are making some real dollars by just playing
If
games.
Isaiah inks him a $5 million deal, I think you're gonna be like, you gonna go to college, but go ahead and continue to play this game. Go ahead and continue to play this game for a couple of
Boy,
years. Get that money
what,
in house. Let me see the check clear, and then you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do. So
yeah, we'll talk about that when it happens. It may be
I'm not
close because I know
look, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that if he inks him a $5 million deal, that's
yeah.
more money that you and James Hicks Sr. has ever seen in a lifetime. So that iOS, that Apple money, and that Dell money that you got up there that's got
Yeah,
that big house.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
he can say, look, that's the summer home, and we're gonna be over
I
here in this big home. That's all. That's
boy,
all
what
that is.
boy, watch your
But he, but
mouth,
he,
boy, guy.
but he got to get good though.
Yeah,
And I only say that because I had a friend that I had a friend. His son did not. I mean, he was really into gaming, and the son moved in with the father,
yeah.
and the father got mad because all he did was play video games. That's all he wanted to do was just play video games. And I told the father at the time, let the boy play the video games. But he said all he want to do is, since he left his mama and came to me, all he want to do is play these video games. Well, I let him come hang out with me, and he hung out with me, and there was a part that I couldn't. I'm giving the PG version, shall we say?
Yeah, because you putting them all out there on Front Street.
I never said the person's name. I just said that the person son moved in with the family, and the father did not like it per se. The boy was so good, he was ranked. And I was trying to tell his dad that Georgia Tech, and there's a list of video game camps that you can put your kids through and say, if they're really into the gaming, show them how to design the game. If they're really into gaming, let them be a designer. They don't necessarily have to play the game. But then I was also telling him that his son was so good at one particular game that they had a tournament that he could make $100,000 or $50,000, and that was more than what the father was making. And it was like, just sign him up for the tournament, just support him in his dreams or whatever it is. And the father was just dead set against it, didn't want to hear it, and he got to a point to where once he turned 18, 19 years old, he told him he had to go. And
Wow.
he still continued to play his games. the boy turned out to be all right, but I don't think he really is doing his passion, shall we say. So, but he was that good because I was impressed because it was like I couldn't figure it out. He was literally whipping through the game like it was nothing, and I was just sitting there like, this boy is good. You need somebody that's willing to encourage you or be supportive, shall we say. Look, you go to
Yeah.
school, you go get your job, but I'll support you in this.
Yep.
There's video game camps. I even said, here's the school, here's the information, sign them up. Let him do a summer camp and see what it's like. He could have
Hmm.
actually been a designer for working for or a developer, should we say, for Xbox or for PlayStation and get with one of these games and
Yeah.
he could make all kind of money. But I mean, that once again, when a father is a military person or they set in their ways from that old school version, it's like they're not
Yeah.
understanding that this generation there's more options and opportunities that they don't necessarily have to go to college and they can make a lot of money.
I agree. I agree. What game was it?
I don't remember. It was long.
Okay.
That was back in 2014, 2013. So I don't remember.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Okay. I tell you what. Let's wrap up. But let me ask you one last question. I mean, so we talked a lot about the consoles, right? You know, the Nintendos, PlayStations, Xboxes, and all of that. But more and more folks are being mobile with their gaming activities, right? So, do you ever see the the phones taking over kind of that marketplace, right? Do you ever see you playing on your mobile phone to the same level, to the same extent that you focus on with your home PS2, PS3, whatever the case may be, right? Do you ever think that it'll get to the point where you'll get rid of all that equipment in the house and just download the apps and play them on your mobile phone?
For me, I'm too old. For,
What
for,
does
for
that
me,
mean?
I'm too old. But for these kids, this generation, when you look at these kindergartners, first graders, second grade, I'm sorry. I got one of the latest and greatest phones that's out there of 2020. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm about to let a 5-year-old play with this phone. But when you
What?
think,
Because of the dollars that you put into that investment of the phone, or what?
I
You
think a
don't
lot
you
of it is, would you give a 5-year-old your iPhone right now? If he was if you were at the doctor's
no
office and
no
he was
no
crying and you
no
just wanted to shut him up, would you give him your $1,000 iPhone?
I
But
love my
and that,
brother-in-law's little kids, my little nieces and all, but no, they can't play
but
with Uncle
here's the thing:
Scoop's.
parents are doing it now, and they're giving their kids the latest and greatest phones, and now that's how they interact. And it's like they're playing these games, and they're able. I'm too old to do that, but even on this phone, this is a gaming phone. This is literally
Yeah.
I can turn this into I can turn the bottom part of this screen, shall we say,
Yeah.
into the controllers, and I can be playing the game on top of, I mean, on the actual phone part. I could
Hmm.
do that. These kids in this generation, these 3 to 12-year olds, this is all they do. They're not necessarily playing. I mean, they're playing Nintendo Switch. They're taking it and they're making it mobile, but there's games that they can download. There's games that they can play, and this is what they do. Whereas
Yeah.
what we did back in the day, it was Atari. I just can't see myself giving a
Yeah.
kid $1,000 phone or an $800 phone and letting them do whatever it is. I these kids are
I
so
hear you.
these kids are so glued into the TV. I mean, into these phones now. Like there was a day that we knew everybody's number. That if we met you, you would give me your number and I would
Yeah.
memorize it. We
Yeah.
live in a day now that if you get arrested, do you know your wife's
Bruh.
number?
Bruh,
Do
look,
you know your
there's only
kids'
three or four people whose number I know. You are number 18 or whatever. You on the favorites list. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I don't know the number off the top of my head. I ain't
number?
gonna lie to you.
Yeah. But this
Yeah.
generation, they live in that world, shall we say,
Hmm.
where it's acceptable. Whereas when we
Yeah.
came in, I remember my great grandmother used to tell us when we would go to Saginaw, Michigan. Don't put that game on my TV. It's gonna mess up my
Ooh.
TV. She wanted to watch Donahue. She wanted to watch Oprah. She wanted to she wanted to watch all her soap operas and all that good old stuff. And she thought putting a Nintendo on her TV was gonna mess up that one
Yeah.
TV that she had in the house
Don't
in the
do
day.
it. Don't do it.
But now we live in a generation where we're seeing 4K. But see, they didn't know nothing about
Yeah.
gaming back then. Whereas now, it's like your son probably telling you he got to have this gaming screen on top of the gaming laptop, on top of I got to have this.
You've been talking. Look, man, I have yes. That you are exactly that exact conversation. I need this graphics card because I need to have this refresh rate on my monitor. I need this type of mechanical keyboard. Man, I'm glad this little young brother, bringing in some summer money too. But yeah, I
Oh,
mean
so he,
it's
so
to
he
that
does.
point.
So he is bringing in money. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, this ain't all coming from the bank of mom and dad. So
Oh,
yeah,
well, tell
he's
Isaiah let me hold something. Tell Isaiah let me hold something. I just need to hold something. Tell him, like, can I get, can he treat me to 2K? Make my girlfriend say, hey, you know what? Thank you, Isaiah. You all right with us? Can he help
you,
me
you
out?
you set up a GoFundMe or Indiegogo, Patreon. We'll find some kind of way to contribute, kick in. Hey, Brad, I think we talked about it. I think we covered our topic enough. I think we had a great conversation. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Another good show, man. I mean, the lab is where it's at, brother. Because the idea is to come through with some facts and some research, and have some dialogue with the folks that are watching and listening, and unbiased, right? We just tell you what it is that we see, what we like, and let you make your own decisions. But a lot of times, folks will go out there and shopping, and they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So we've had those conversations about gaming consoles, gaming systems, what was good, like Tammy said, what gamer like the gamers console is, right? From the Sony side, we've had those conversations about if you're trying to get into this live streaming and this webcasting world, the types of products that you need, different types of mobile phones and mobile technology. Now, we gotta figure out what we're gonna talk about next, man, because I mean that's we didn't hit it pretty good, brother. We didn't hit it pretty good.
I see the comment.
Oh goodness gracious!
But
Isaiah, I
see,
put that on the screen there, so it don't go away. You know what's on the internet, but I work in the industry, so if it's on the internet, it won't go away.
right. Hey, look,
Okay.
I don't mind buying them Halo. I'm that type of guy. I mean, because I understand that this generation, we as adults can't never be too old to say I don't support something, because there was a day where we were living our generation, and as much as Tammy plays the WAP song. I don't know if you heard it or not, but as much as she plays it, I can't get mad because when I was growing up and you were growing up, the music that we listened to was the same.
Yeah,
So it's no different from
that's
Isaiah
true.
saying, I'll support Isaiah because I know that this is what he does. And it's like to see his passion into this. My thing is, hey, he's making money.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
something that
He's
how can you monetize this? And it's not about money, shall we say? It's not about money, but it's about when we were playing, we were just playing it for fun. These
right.
kids or the next generation turned around and said, "We can make this a business," and they're doing it from the ninjas of making 10. I was supposed to look that up. You talk for a second. Let me show you something real quick. Take me off this screen so I can show you all my little games that I got. Take me off this screen.
So, folks, thank you very much. But again, while Tall Boy's looking that up, we have a handful of topics that we'd like to talk about next, but obviously we'd like to crowdsource that as well. What do you feel we should be talking about within our next couple of episodes? All consumer technology focused, as opposed to large scale enterprise or anything of that nature. But we could talk about cars. I can definitely talk about my electric car. I have no problem talking about my Tesla. I can talk about that all day, every day. So I mean, that's a fantastic thing that we can go down the rabbit hole. But hit us up on both of our Facebook brand pages. I am Tall Boy and Hicks New Media, and we can. Oh, time's up. Somebody's got to go. Try it with Tammy is working on some new dishes. She's everyone, yeah, go check out Tammy Chambers. Try it with Tammy. Hit the spot 10:06. Streaming Tuesday, I believe at is it 2 p.m. Eastern time or is it 2 p.m. Pacific time? At a online cooking show, and she's made some fantastic dishes. I just wish that she would ship them from Georgia to California, so we could have some of that action. But I'll leave that up to the executive producer, who I'm gonna bring back on screen and see if we can get some of those dishes shipped to California.
I don't know about that one, but
Oh my
because you gotta have
God! I
because
try
you
to
gotta
put
have
you on the
dry
spot.
ice.
See, I try to put you on the spot, brother. I
No,
try
I
to
was
put you.
ready for you. So you gotta have a lot of dry ice, and you're talking about shipping overnight. So if you're willing to pay that cost, hey, be the boss, buddy. Be the boss.
Mm,
So real quick, he signed a multi-million dollar deal, $20 and $30 million for the deal, and then something happened to where he ended up walking away with a lot of that money. So, um, it doesn't say, it doesn't exactly say, but just look up Ninja and Mixer, and you'll find out he made 10 million in 2018, but he signed a deal between 20 and 30 million dollars for a multi-year deal, and Mixer folded, so he
yeah,
just walked away with all of that money because
ridiculous.
they folded, not him.
Yeah.
So here is my exclusive. Well, it's not exclusive, but you can
Oh
see.
my goodness, he went to the vault. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Oh my God, he
so
went to the
I'm a
vault.
really a big fan of 2K. So this is this is what I have in front of me. 15 2K15. Let me see if I can bring this up here a little bit closer. You
Yeah,
got
we need to see
2K.
who's on the cover there.
Let's see, Kevin Durant, one of
Okay, okay,
my favorite basketball player in this generation or in this era. 15. I got 16. I don't know where it's at. You got 17 with Paul George on the cover. There you go,
okay.
2K17.
Right,
Then
right.
you got 2K18 with Kyrie Irving,
Uh-huh.
and then 2K19 with Giannis on the cover. And then you got 2K20 with AD on the cover, Anthony Davis. And
Yeah.
then some of the other games, I have more Maddens. I've been rocking with Madden since 2001, since the very first PlayStation, but the last 2 or 3 years, actually, this was the last Madden game that I bought, 2016. So it was funny because I would buy Madden in July or August, and then late September, late October, 2K would come out. So you had to have both of those games. This is one of the best games that I played that's not a sports game, called Watch Dogs. They have a Watch Dogs 2. I think the Watch Dogs 1 version is better, in my personal opinion. Payday 2, this is a bank robbery game.
Mm.
So you ever thought about trying to make some money?
I love it. I love it.
And then race car game Need for Speed. So Gran Turismo was one of the most popular games. I
Yeah,
think
that's a
Need
good
for
one.
Speed is one of the more popular games for the PS4. So that's my collection that I have in house, and then there's more games that I have
I'm sure
that,
there are. I'm sure they're
yeah.
just strewn
So, but for
all
me,
over the place.
but you know what? I used to collect basketball cards as a kid,
Yeah.
and I still have them, but there are some old cards that if I would have been into it the way I am into these games now, when I was collecting, if I could have got my hands on that Michael Jordan rookie card, shall we say, that Dennis Rodman rookie card, shall we
Mhm.
say,
Mhm.
those cards
Mhm.
are worth a lot of money in this day and era.
Yeah.
But think about when you were growing up, you probably collected a few baseball cards, and some of
Yep.
those cards
Yep.
back then are worth
Yeah.
four
That's true.
times, 10 times the amount of money of what they were back then. So I have my collection of basketball cards in my boat, as Tammy says, that no one knows where it's at. But I have those cards. But just think about what I got. I stopped collecting cards, and it went to, what if I would have had the LeBron James rookie card, because he's gonna
Yeah.
retire soon. And if
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
that card, you're gonna be worth, or you're gonna have
Yeah.
a lot of money. And they were giving those cards away at the Dollar Tree. For you
Wow.
can get a pack
Yeah.
for $1. Whereas back then, when as I was growing up collecting basketball cards, every every $2, every $3 that I had, I was going to the mall to go to the card shop to buy that new pack of cards. But I stopped. What if
I
I
did
would
the
have kept
same
going?
thing, and
Yeah.
you're right. I did the same thing with baseball cards. Yeah, I did the exact. So that's true.
So
That's
this is
very
where
true.
we are with the gaming. So my thing is, there's gonna be a day where I'm gonna be this old man walking in with this vintage gaming equipment, shall we say,
Yeah.
and because the PlayStation 10 is gonna come out, and I'm gonna say, "Oh, I got the PlayStation 2, or I got the PlayStation 3," and I know that that stuff is gonna be worth some money. Like I told you, I got a Sony mini disc player sitting over here right now that I don't even use.
He got a
But
mini display.
like I said, I'm a techie. This is what I do. So
I'm gonna
it's
leave
the
it at that,
lab,
brother.
baby. It's the lab. This is what we
There it
do.
is. You don't know what you're gonna get, brother. I'm gonna leave it at that. Always good to talk to you, man. Appreciate you. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna talk about next time. But the lab is always up for discussion. We always like to engage our audience. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. Y'all be
Thank you,
good. Don't be.
Isaiah. Thank you, Tammy, for joining the show.
Yes,
Sometimes it
sir.
gets to us just talking, but we know that these videos will be worth something back then. I mean, in the future. So that's why we're recording and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, websites, Periscope, and
Mm,
all that other
talk
good stuff.
about
Because
that.
we know that we're giving you this content today, and people may not pay attention to it then, but we're giving you facts. We're not telling you to say PlayStation or Xbox is better. We're just saying this is what they say. These are the numbers and these are the specs, and it's your choice to pick what you want. For whether you go with cell phone or go with an actual gaming console. But we know that somebody's going to want to come back and say, well, what were these brothers talking about for about an hour and 20 minutes? Maybe we pull some snippets. So, thanks for
Hey,
watching. Y'all was in the gym shooting with us. I appreciate it.
drop the mic. We out.